Okay.
So we're starting our To Be Famous series on the greatest, the best and greatness of the Judaism. All these Tanaim, Amarayim, Rishonim, Acharonim. David is going to kick it off with a presentation on Rambam, the great Rambam. So the stage is yours. Please tell us.
Okay.
And we will not interrupt you. We give you your 14 minutes uninterrupted attention, and then Q&As in the end.
Okay. 14 minutes. This is what I wanted to say because you owed me 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. So the Rambam, if not the number one, then the number two most famous Jewish philosopher and scholar and rabbi. My favorite rabbi personally. So I prepared a few. You guys see me okay? Because I'm now looking at a document. Yeah, so here we go. The Rambam was born in Spain, in Cordoba, in 1138, although some speculate that he was born in 1135. I am one of those who think he was actually born in 1135. The place was then called, it was not really Spain, it was called the Morabitun Empire. He died, however, that's not, everybody agrees that he died on 1204 in Egypt, in what was then called the Ayyubic Sultanate. So he was either 66 or 69. Depends on your favorite date of birth. In Spain, when he was born, we have no information about his mother, what was her name, or if he had any sisters. We don't have any information about female members of the family. There's nothing on it anywhere. He, just like all the kids in those days, he learned the Hebrew alphabet and the Torah and all the basic things from his father, whose name was Maimon Hadayan. He was a rabbi and a Jewish Dayan. How would you call a Dayan in English?
Judge.
A judge, is that okay? So it's sort of a halachic judge, a religious judge in a halachic court. So he learned everything from him. He had an Arabic name, which is the Arabs knew him. His Arabic name was Abu Amran Musa ibn Maimun ibn Abdullah al-Qurtubi al-Israeli. Do you remember that?
I don't think I can repeat it.
Did you write it down? Did you write it down? He was called Ibn Abdullah because of his one of his great grandfathers was called Ovadia, and Ovadia and Abdallah basically means the same thing. So it was from that person, Ovadia. So that was his Arabic name. Basically, his influences in life later on, when he will become both a Jewish scholar and a philosopher, his first influences were his own father, Rabbi Maimon, and Rabbi Yosef ben Migash, who was a teacher of his and a teacher of his father, and also Rabbi Yitzhak El-Fazi. We know him as the Reef. And also he was, of course, famously influenced by Arabic philosophers Ibn Sina, Al-Farabi, and the father of all philosophers, Aristotle. What do you think? Aristotle was the father of all philosophers, or was it Plato? Well, Plato was Aristotle's teacher, so okay, so in the year 1148, the Rambam and his family they flee Cordoba because an invasion of a fanatic Muslim group from from North Africa that was called Al Muwahidun. And the Muwahidun were very nice people. They actually offered you a choice. Not everybody is offering a choice. They offered you a choice either to convert or to die. It's
Nice.
very generous. So they decided to flee, and it took them about 10 years of a journey until they reached Morocco, of all places, which is one of the which is one of the places where the Muwahidun were originated from. But in Morocco, in Fez, in the city of Fez, which is also the city of the Reef, where the Reef comes from, it was not under the control of the Muwahidun, but yet it was still not an extremely friendly place for Jews and maybe Christians and members of other religions, if there were any at that time in Morocco. And in this chapter of the Rambam's life, he's a young man. There are some claimed to be allegedly eyewitnesses who said that the Rambam's family and Musa ibn Maimun himself were seen as basically being converted to Islam. Uh, some people have claimed to see the Rambam actually read the Quran and pray in the mosque. And of course, it's a little bit difficult was a little bit difficult. I don't know how it is today. I would still think it would be a little bit difficult for traditional Jews to actually believe that the Rambam converted. But later on, he wrote the Igeret Ashmad, in which he basically allows Jews to convert to Islam. However, if it was Christianity that he needed, that he was forced to convert, I don't think he would convert because he saw Christianity as
Mhm.
paganism, complete and total paganism, and he didn't accept it at all. But we know that the Rambam did have a sort of a basic respect and appreciation of Islam and some of its teachings and some of its philosophies, at least on the more rational philosophies of Islam, like the philosophies of the Mu'tazilites. So personally, if you ask me, I do think that the Rambam converted, but like he wrote in the Geret Ashmad, it was from, like we say in Hebrew, from a pevel achutz. So okay, so they want you to convert. Okay, so you just say the shahada, you just say it, but you don't mean it. And we know I've been to a synagogue, I think 2 weeks ago, and there was just another person there praying. It was a Friday night, Saturday night, and I asked him a question about something in the prayer, and he answered my question, and he said, it's all about what you mean. It's all about the kavanot. You know what
Mhm.
what you pray is what's important is that you mean something in the prayer. You concentrate your heart on a specific meaning, and that's what matters in the prayer. So I think this concept of kavanot, which I believe you both are familiar with, kavanot in prayer, kavanot in maybe there's something about it in Kabbalah, I don't know, but it looks like the Rambam knew it, and he said, well, it doesn't mean anything if you don't mean it. So
Mhm.
it's not a real conversion. So you say the shahada, because this is a life or death thing, and the Rambam was pro-life. He was not pro-choice. To put it in modern words, in American modern words, he was
Mhm.
pro-life. So this is why I think, because it was a personal thing to him, and because, like I said, again, my opinion is that they have converted unmeaningfully. But I think because of that, he allowed other Jews to basically to do the same, because it was a personal issue for him, and that's why he said, okay, if you need to, but of course, on the condition that at home you're still a Jew, and that you actively trying to find the best moment to leave that place, to leave that country, to leave that city, and move to another place where you can live your life as a Jew outwardly as well, not just at home as a persecuted Jew. So this is something that you have to do. Okay, so they spent 4 years in Fez in Morocco. Um, and then in Fez, he started to write his first major work. The Rambam wrote a few works before this, but they were kind of very early works. So the first was the Perush Mishnah, the commentary on the Mishnah. It was written between 1161 and 1167, is the Rambam's first major work, offering commentary and explanations on the entire Mishnah and containing a few famous prefaces about Mishnah tractates. For instance, the 8 chapters for the tractate of Avot, the preface to Perek Chelek in the Sanhedrin tractate, and the preface to the entire Mishnah as well. The work has finished on this book in 1167. Yeah, 1167. However, the Rambam never stopped basically correcting and fixing and rewriting parts of this first book. And Mandy, if you remember, just a minute, my mouse has gone completely mad. I think my mouse is excited as well. That I'm talking about the Rambam. Mandy, if you remember when we were on dinner at your place on like a month or a month and a half ago, you asked me if I read the 8 chapters of Shmona Prakim, and I said I didn't. So so I actually did. In the synagogue where I go, I found it amongst the many books there, and I read it, and I read all the Shmona Prakim, and I actually was surprised, because all of the ideas that I read, the ideas of that man, about man's mental abilities to do things, about the way the nefesh is built, the human soul, and all of that, and that basically a man can become a prophet, and that prophecy power comes from the man from within himself, and not like say Rabbi Yehuda Halevi believed that prophecy comes from God to man. For the Rambam, it's from bottom to top, not from top to bottom, and all of the ideas about how you should live, how you should treat your body, how you should prepare yourself to become a scholarly man, and a knowledgeable and educated man. I knew all of these ideas, but I didn't know it was coming from the Shmona Prakim. So I found all the material to be very familiar to me. I just didn't know it was the Shmona Prakim. So now I have read the Shmona Prakim, and we can talk about it. So that's one thing. Now, moving on from the first book to the second book, Mishneh Torah. Was written from 1167 to 1177, so that's 10 years of work. Comprehensive halachic work based on the laws of the Talmud. The Rambam divided the different subjects of Jewish law into 14 parts and presents the reader with the problem, the solution, and relevant halacha for each subject. This is considered to be the Rambam's greatest achievement. By the way, I'm reading my own words. I've not copied it from anywhere. It's just I wrote these little sikumim, these little paragraphs. So this is considered the Rambam's greatest achievement, and to this day is used as both a learning tool and decision-making tool in all sorts of questions in Jewish oral law. Basically, it's a work comprised of 14 sub-books, if we can call them like that That's why it's called in Hebrew Yad HaChazaka. Yad is Yud and Daled. Yad, it's a hand, but it's also 14 in gematria, right? That's the right word to say, gematria in English. So the Yad HaChazaka, the strong hand of the Rambam. The book itself was received, I would say, it wasn't like a bestseller. It was not a bestseller. Some people, of course, thought it was a work of genius, but that mostly was in the Muslim countries. When the book reached the Muslim countries, it was accepted more friendly and sometimes completely accepted. I mean, in Yemen, they absolutely, they have a thing for the Rambam. I mean, it means it's Moses, it's Moses, and then it's Moses Maimonides for the Yemenites. However, in France and then in other Ashkenazi communities, they were some very known rabbis of the time were very furious at Mishneh Torah because they said that it was chutzpah on the Rambam's side to write a book in which he says clearly that all you need to do, my intention, the Rambam said, that a man reads the written Torah, so the Pentateuch, and then he reads my book, the Mishneh Torah, which is the summary, the entire summary of the Talmud, and he knows everything he needs to know in Judaism and how to be a Jew, and he doesn't need any other book in between. So he doesn't need to go all through the original Mishnah and then the Gemara to know what to do in every specific case in Jewish halacha. So you just read the Torah and then you read my book, and that's enough. And that has infuriated many rabbis, of course, who saw the studying of the Talmud as the heart of the Jewish Torah study, Limuda Torah Sheba'al Peh. You have to learn the Talmud Bavli, Talmud Yerushalmi. You don't just skip those things. You don't, because the entire chokhmah, the entire wisdom of Judaism is in those works, and it's like, you say, okay, it doesn't matter. I just made a summary. You read my summary, and that's it. It's a very un-Jewish thing to do in a sort of a way, but the Rambam had the chutzpah to do it, and he had the power to do it. What's that, Mandy? You say something?
No, I didn't say anything. I'm on mute. No, I didn't say anything.
Okay, sorry.
I could say it's a long 14 minutes, that's all.
Okay.
It's good, it's good.
No. I'm getting. How many minutes do I?
You have about maybe another couple of minutes, David.
It's been already 14 minutes.
Time flies.
Oh man. Okay, so this is the end, by the way. So the third book, the third great work of the Rambam, is the Guide for the Perplexed, called in Hebrew the Moreh Nevochim. It was written between 1187 to 1191. A philosophical and theological work written as a letter or many letters to one of his beloved students. The book reveals the Rambam's views on the unity of God, the way the Torah should be understood by the scholarly person, the reasons for the commandments of the Torah, the way Aristotelian and Muslim philosophy differ from Jewish philosophy. When I say Jewish philosophy, I mean from Rambam's personal philosophy. In this case, and also a hidden critique of the Islam, of Islam in general, and the Prophet Muhammad. This is a highly controversial book that was denounced as heretical by many Jewish rabbis and communities, even was burned at the time of its publication, if you can call it publication back then, mainly because of its rational philosophy and the way it offers to understand the Torah and God in allegorical terms. And the book was written originally in Arabic. So just to my final words to all those who watch and don't know, the Rambam is probably considered the most rational Jewish philosopher, and I would say, his goal was to somehow mend religion with reality and sciences, and to find a way to see the world in a rational way, and to make a rationalization of the belief in God, and to justify the belief in God through rational thinking. That was the greatest contribution of the Rambam, and this is why I personally love the Rambam and follow his, teachings. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Very nice, very enlightening. Thank you so much.
I hope that was better than the last time.
It was good. I have just a quick question, then I'll let
Yeah.
Menachem Mendel ask question. My quick question. Well, you mentioned it's so interesting. I heard it also somewhere that Yemen. I always just maybe naively always imagine Yemen is like tucked away several thousand years ago, like by itself. And yet,
Yeah.
you would think if anybody like Libya or Europe, France will have connections from Van, he picks up the phone, hello, and Yemen way out in the moon somewhere. And yet,
Yeah.
they felt very, as you said, strong connections to him, right? It's just so interesting.
Okay, so the reason for that, Mandy, you want to answer, Lev?
No, I didn't quite get it. I put a video in the chat. I don't know if you want to watch it together. It's just funny.
I see you've written something. I'll click it a little bit
How do I
later.
do it?
There's a
Do you want
message
to
there in
do it?
red. Yeah.
It's a funny clip, but what's funny about that clip is really when you go I'll tell you where you go like 2 minutes into the video. Should we play it on loud on someone to play it and share their screen?
I'm trying to play it and share the screen. Let me just see how I do it.
We won't be able to hear me. And says, okay, you're Muslim. So one of the Jewish guys says, okay, repeat after me. Ata Yehudi Sheli. You're a Jewish now. Welcome.
I got it.
Okay, exactly. So that's it. It's just funny that if only Judaism takes 5 years to become Jewish. So this whole thing about Rambam Muslim, I don't know. I've never heard of such a thing. I'm extremely skeptical. I don't know where
About
it's
what?
even. Rambam. What did you say? What did you say about Rambam converting to Islam?
Oh, I said that that when they came to Morocco finally in 1158, some witnesses said. Now this is disputed. Some people don't believe these witnesses. Some say these witnesses just wanted to say that to taunt Jews, to say that one of their greatest rabbis has converted to Islam or something. But some other people say that it could be right, that the family has converted from, just like you said, from the Peh Velachutz, just to stay alive. And they behaved like Jews at home, and behaved like Muslims on the street. And one of these, I think there's even his name is mentioned. The man who said that, he's been dead for like 900 years, but he said that he saw the Rambam sitting in the mosque reading in the Quran. So so what I said is that I wouldn't find that to be a problem, and I wouldn't find that to be something that is impossible, especially because when the Rambam wrote his Igeret Shmad, I think that he wrote it because it was a personal matter to him. He said, well, I did it. Why shouldn't other Jews do it and stay alive and then go to another place? And this is what he wrote. This is what you need to do. If you are presented with a choice, either to convert or to die, you convert unmeaningfully. You just say the Shahada, which is the Muslim declaration of faith. You say the Shahada, and
you live.
You let people, you live, you stay alive.
Yeah.
And you let people see you behave as a Muslim. And by the way, Jews did it in Europe as well, and they did it in Christian countries.
Well, in fact, I
Uh,
think Rambam, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense to me, David, what you're saying, because
the
Rambam was
Rambam was
very,
flesh and blood. He was a flesh and blood person.
and also when Marranos in Spain converted,
Yeah,
Rambam was actually always saying, those who criticize Marranos, be careful criticizing until you're in their shoes.
yeah.
Yeah, so
So,
I think Marano's is a bit different. Anyway, halachically, I think even according to Rambam, according to Rambam, definitely, I think is a person is allowed to go into a mosque because there's no avodah zarah there. In fact, it's even better to pray inside a mosque, which is a place of worship, than to just pray in the street. If you don't have a place to pray, if there's no shul in your area, it's better to go into a mosque and pray than to just pray somewhere else.
Yes,
I think
that's
that's
right.
one of them. But it's not. He also
We're losing
explains in
Mandy.
another place the reason why Hashem says, yeah, I've had a bit of
Just repeat your latest.
repeat
Repeat
again,
your
we
last
we
sentences.
will got faded. Say again,
yeah, I have a bit of an unstable connection lately. I don't know. So he also explains, I think it's in the end of I think it's maybe Hilchas Avodah Zarah or something, why Hashem created Islam and why Hashem created Christianity. And he explains over there, maybe it's in Hilchas Mashiach, I don't remember. But he explains the reason why Hashem created Christianity is that when Mashiach comes, the whole concept of Mashiach won't be something foreign to the world. The whole world will understand what this concept of Mashiach is. And the reason why he created Islam is that when Mashiach comes, the whole world will know what one God is. Because Islam is very into Allah Akbar, one God. So it won't be a foreign thing to the world either.
This goes to show
We
all have to try to get along. I guess so. Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
There's this book by Micha Gudman. It's in Hebrew, so I think it would be a little bit difficult for you to read. Do you read Hebrew well, Mandy?
Yeah, okay. English is definitely easier.
Okay, it's by Micha Gudman. Micha Gudman is a religious guy. It's called Sodotav Shel Moreh Nevuchim, The Secrets of the Moreh Nevuchim. And I just want to read here a paragraph.
We only have 2 minutes recording, guys.
Okay, because Mandy, Mandy naturally always refers to Mishneh Torah, but the Rambam was a man who contradicts himself. He was, and this is what Micha Gudman says.
There are 2.5 minutes left in recording time.
Okay. הקורא שצלח את כל הנחותיו הגלויות והסמויות של הרמב"ם והגיע למסקנות דיון על העולם על אלוהים עומדת מול שוקת שבורה, מנופצת, תחושת הוודאות הבסיסית ביותר שלו התרסקה, הוא איננו יודע כיצד יתהווה העולם, וגם אין לו ודאות מוחלטת ביחס לקיומו של אלוהי העולם. זהו דיון המתפרס על עשרות פרקים במורה נבוכים, ומפותל, מורכב, יבש ולעיתים קשה להבנה, אך מי שצולח אותו מבין את מסקנותיו נדרש לוותר על ודאות מוחלטת ביחס לקיומו של אלוהים. מיכה גודמן basically says that when you finish some of many chapters of the Moreh Nevuchim, you come to the conclusion that there is no vadaut, certainty. There is no certainty to the existence of God. And this is what this book says. You can accept, you can not accept it. That's okay. But the Moreh Nevuchim is so radical that it contradicts completely the Mishneh Torah and Perush Mishnah in its philosophies. That's it.
Wow.
Well, according to Torah, in order to have bechira, in order to have a free choice, the world was created in such a way that there's no certainty, because if there was certainty, you wouldn't have free choice anymore. There are miracles that we see every single day, but we are totally numb to them. Like life in itself is a miracle, so but we're numb to it because we're exposed to it every single day. But we say if we would have seen the splitting of the sea, we'd believe in God. There were people who saw the splitting of the sea and still didn't believe in God. So
Jelma, I have to jump in here. We have 45 seconds. I want to finish this by first of all thanking you for excellent presentation, very enlightening. And Harold Schroeder, who was in Israel, I met with him recently. He's on the way tonight back to US, and he said if jet lag is not going to get the best of him, then next week he'll try to do a similar presentation on Rashi. So
Great.
he'll see our recording. Hopefully, the guys who might not be able to come today, Reuven and Adrian and John and other people might have also their comments. So thanks again, David. It was terrific. Thank you very much. And I see you guys next Tuesday, 20 o'clock Israeli time. So great. So
Bye bye.